What's up, everybody? It's Hosey and welcome to Tennessee. We're here, we're back into it finally after taking a little bit of some time off, just a little bit, so I apologize for that. But anyway, today we are moseying on over to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, where we're going to discover the history behind one of the deadliest battlefields during the Civil War. So let's get into it. Now, in order to fully understand the importance of this battle, we need to set the stage of what was about to take place. On September 22nd, 1862, Lincoln issues the preliminary Emancipation Proclamation, and with it, he makes it explicitly clear to the generals of the Union Army to bring home as many victories as possible by New Year's Day of 1863. Such victories could serve as a backbone to his officially signing the act. The day after Christmas of 1862, General Rosecrans' Union Army of the Cumberland departs Nashville, with forces numbering around 44,000 men, and he heads toward the Confederate General Bragg, his Army of Tennessee, which was stationed in Murfreesboro. Now, on the 30th of December, the two armies gather here on the banks of the Stone River, and their respective generals started to plot their battle plans. And ironically, they actually had the same battle plan, which was to attack the opposite's right flank. And at 6 a.m. on this frigidly cold morning of the 31st of December 1862, one of the two Southern Corps of Infantry surprised the Union Army as they crash into the Union right flank. Now, due to the surprise attack that the Confederates had, the Federals were sent backwards towards the National Turnpike and Railroad, which was like 2.5 miles out. Consequently, they actually lost quite a bit of cannons to the south. So the fiercest conflict happened on Hell's Half Acre, which is what the men who survived the battle called it. And it was in kind of like this really dense forested area, much like this. And you can kind of see how there would be lethal conditions with this. You know, you have rocks underground, and then all these logs and branches that you'd have to kind of fight and stumble over, not to mention ricocheting bullets and whatnot. It would just be a mess. And what's also really quite fascinating is they had something called earthworks. So right over here, you can see right into here, basically it was these trenches that they made. So all of a sudden trench warfare came into the picture with this battle, and these trenches are all over the place. So it's really interesting. The Federals continue to stand their ground here at the railroad and turnpike, yet the Confederates are taking significant casualties due to their commander Bragg not being able to properly coordinate his army's attacks. By the end of the first day, the Confederates are basically cornered between the Stone River and the Federal, yet their commander, Bragg, still taunts the Union Army, saying, "God has granted us a happy new year." Very ballsy of him. The next day was treated as a hiatus, giving each side time to reevaluate. The Union soldiers move across the river and establish a borderline along a hilltop. The Confederate commander, Bragg, orders Major General Breckinridge to charge their new position. So nothing really happens the following day until about 4 p.m. when Breckinridge very grudgingly moves his men forward. Around 5,000 Confederate soldiers move across an open field when suddenly they're taking massive artillery from the Union side. In a desperate attack, the Confederates charge forward, breaking the Union line, but the Unions regain their strength and start blasting the Confederates yet again. Through these counterattacks as well as this heavy artillery, Bragg actually starts to withdraw his men, giving the Union Army their victory. And this right here is actually where the last stand was right around in this area. You can kind of see the highway right over here, but this is basically where the Unions took their last stand. And with this victory, the Union now controls central Tennessee, and their morale boosts, especially after the losses they had recently taken. However, it's really important to note that with this battle, there was the greatest percentage of casualties, even more so than at the battles of Shiloh and Antietam. And of the wounded, there was one soldier in particular that I thought I would outline, and her name was Frances Elizabeth Quinn. She was shot in the shoulder during this battle, and she had disguised herself as a man in order to enlist and fight for the Union Army. What a badass, honestly. And I think with her story, this battle, it was like her third enlisting because she kept getting caught. Anyway, if you want to hear more of her story, comment down below. I'll go ahead and do some more research if people find that fairly fascinating, so let me know. Later, President Lincoln wrote to Commander Rosecrans saying, "You gave us a hard victory, which, had there been a defeat instead, the nation would scarcely have lived over." And of course, you guys know me, I always have to question, since this place is where one of the bloodiest battles in the Civil War took place, is it haunted? So only about 15% of the battle happened near the battlefield. However, there's many people who have had experiences with spirits, especially near the slaughter pen. Anything from hearing cannon and musket fire to seeing soldiers walk across the field. Mark Walsh from Rutherford County Paranormal Investigations even says, "Every time I go out there, I always ask, 'Do you know who the president is?' And every time they respond, 'Lincoln.'" And with that, that concludes our special on the Stone River battlefield. I hope you guys at least got some education out of it, some realization about the Civil War and how profound this place actually is in our nation's history. And with that, if you did learn something, please give this video a like. That helps me understand what you guys are appreciating and what you guys value. And subscribe if you want some more content just like this. Anyway, peace. I'll catch you guys in the next one. People are like looking at me and they're like, "What the fuck is she doing?" I'm like, "Film me, leave me alone." Okay. Like, ew, go away. I can't with myself, oh my god.